Well, I guess that's what I get for staying up all night watching horror movies. Hey there, and welcome to episode 13 of Jazzy-Bytes, the video game channel where we talk about all things video game related, with me, Jazz. So for this episode, I want to talk about one of my favourite genres when it comes to video games. I want to talk about survival horror and horror games in general. I have loved horror games ever since I had Resident Evil 1 on the PlayStation 1. I jumped when those dogs jumped through the window. I was terrified when you walked in on that zombie eating the other member of the STARS unit. For this episode, I want to talk about some of my favourite horror games. I'm not saying it's a definitive list, and it's certainly not my top 5. I just want to generally talk about 5 of the video games that I've really loved, that have terrified me, that have given me sleepless nights, and that I would recommend. Enjoy. Let's start in no particular order with Resident Evil 7. This is a true survival horror game. It was directed by Koshi Nakanishi. Unusually for the mainline Resident Evil series, this is actually played from a first-person point of view, which for me it adds to the tension, it adds to the horror. The game itself follows Ethan Winters as he searches for his wife in a mansion-like farmhouse where the cannibalistic Baker family live. The game is full of jump scares. The game is full of atmosphere. It's got a really eerie kind of setting. Oh, there's one of the jump scares that I just mentioned, and again and again. This game had me on the edge of my seat throughout. It does become a little bit kind of sciencey towards the end, but about 3/4 of the game are just true horror in my opinion. Whoa, and again, okay, let's switch it up. So, Until Dawn is more of an interactive drama that was released back in 2015. It was directed by Will Biles and Nick Bowen. The game itself follows 8 teenagers as they try to survive a night on Blackwood Mountain. The really good thing about this game is it touches on a lot of different genres of horror. You've got like a bit of a Saw aspect, you've got a bit of a supernatural aspect, you've got a bit of a monstrous aspect. Now, for me, one of the best things about this game altogether, without a doubt, is the fact that all of the characters can either live or they can die. It very much depends on the choices that you, as the player, make throughout the game. I actually got all 8 characters to survive on a first playthrough. It was more luck than judgment. Give this one a go. The Evil Within is a 2014 third-person action survival horror game. It was directed and comes from the twisted mind of Shinji Mikami, the creator of the Resident Evil series. It follows the protagonist, Sebastian Castellanos. After witnessing the slaughter of his fellow officers, Sebastian is ambushed and knocked unconscious. When he awakens, he finds himself in this twisted and deranged world that's just full of these hideous creatures. From there, he's pulled through a twisted world full of nightmares. The game itself has got a really good storyline, it's real visceral. It puts me in the mind of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Saw type films. The monsters and the creatures in it are terrifying. You briefly saw Laura there. You're seeing the Butcher here. It's a great game. What can I say about Silent Hill 2 that has not been said before? The Silent Hill series are absolute classics, and this in particular is a high point for the series for me. It's a survival horror classic. The game itself was developed by Team Silent, arguably a team of mess-ups that Konami just relegated to the basement. They left them to their own devices, and Team Silent came up with the genius Silent Hill, and then consequently this baby. It follows James Sunderland. He receives a letter from his dead wife, which brings him back to Silent Hill, the place where they honeymooned. I won't give too much away about the game. Silent Hill has got a real deep, thick lore, but essentially, at least from what I've found and from playing the games, the town itself is almost sentient. It draws you in to punish you for the darker sides of your psyche. Resident Evil HD 2014. This is the definitive way to play this game. It's update and it's HD, so we have got the gameplay, we've got the controls, we've got the graphics that the original creators intended for this game. It follows the STARS team as they're sent in and consequently chased into a mansion in the Arklay Mountains of Raccoon City. From there is zombies, it's blood, it's jump scares, but it's also got a fantastic storyline going on throughout it as well. The player gets to pick from Jill Valentine or Chris Redfield at the beginning of the game, and the player will have slightly different experiences depending on who you pick to play. There have been lots of Resident Evil games at this point, there have been lots of spin-offs. For me, this is one of the originals and the best, albeit the PS1 original, but this, like I said, is how the game was intended to be played. There's also Doki Doki Literature Club. I will not say too much about this terrifying horror game that really does creep into your psyche. Download it from Steam now. I hope you enjoyed that short journey into some of the horror games that I love. Unfortunately, I couldn't get footage for some of the other games that I wanted to show you today and talk about, so I have to give honourable mentions to Silent Hill 3, to the Clock Tower series, to the Fatal Frame series. These are all games that have given me sleepless nights, just through fear. Guys, take care of each other. Hope you don't have nightmares. Take care and see you next time. Peace out. Oh, I nearly forgot to say, try not to get caught up by that final jump scare.